Hey Nick, you wanna
Yo,
you wanna look at some Archmage?
yeah, you know I do.
All right,
Load it up.
cue awesome music, which doesn't exist. Okay, here we are, looking at Archmage. Okay, so we are back with another update, and Nick has been off the project now for a whole week. How do you feel about that, Nick?
I feel very sad, but I'm hopeful because that just means it's 1 week closer to me getting back on board.
That's right. So when you stopped working on the project on February 1st, I started working 12-hour days, and then I got sick. And I don't know if those things are related. Like, it would have happened anyway, but my father-in-law was like, "Well, don't kill yourself." So anyway, I've been sick for 3 days of this week, and because there's nobody else working on the game, I still tried to sort of work on the game too. And I don't know about other people out there, but when I get sick, like a cold and all stuffed up and all that stuff, I get really stupid. Like, I lose probably half my brain cells to the sickness, and I don't really know how the physiology of that works. But anyways, I get pretty stupid, and it just so happened I was rewriting a core system, and so I caused a lot of problems. Things were broken, and anyways, here we are at the end of the week, and I have a little something to show you, Nick, and you,
Yay.
everybody else. And we're going to kind of deep dive on one feature because it's the only thing I got working this week. So here we go. Okay, so I had to add something more to character creation. So I'm going to skip this part because we already talked about it last week. So I'm just going to pick that, and I'll pick that, and I'll pick that. And then we're at this new thing. Okay, so these are your childhood interests. So as you grew up and you did your family chores, you had some opportunities to roam around the village, and who did you spend time with? Okay, so we got Timon the Ranger, and he will give you nature, hunting, fishing, and riding, but he has no time for astronomy or politics.
Does that mean you get minuses to it? Or
Yes.
Is it just...
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So these are interests; these aren't skills. And I'll talk more about the interests in a second. But basically, we have looks like we got 5 different choices here. Yeah, 5.
Is that up rubber color now? Looks new. I like it.
You made that like a super long time ago.
Well, I like it.
Okay, well that's
I
good.
recognize it, but
Can you read the text, or I have to read it to you?
I can read it.
Okay, so we got 5 different choices. They're actually randomized. I don't know which ones are going to show up. So I call these interest packs. And I know that we've had some discussion, you and I, and also with the fans on the forums about different starting packages and that kind of stuff. And I don't really want to call these starting packages, but I needed interests for what you're about to see next. And so I decided to just throw this in the character creation, which is really ironic because I told everybody we're not going to do any character creation stuff until the game is basically ready to ship. And then here I am adding another featured character creation. So,
Hey, the heart wants what the heart wants, Thomas.
that's right. So I'm still making new character creation stuff. So anyway, you have these choices, which give you some interests, or you can just go with the last one, which is just 4 random interests.
Well, that's not much fun.
Yeah. What do you think?
Innkeeper Steve, he knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's some pretty fancy writing there, eh? Innkeeper Steve. I was thoroughly inspired when I wrote his name. Innkeeper Steve. He likes brew, food, travel, and adventure. Forget about philosophy and fashion.
My kind of guy.
That's your kind of guy? Okay, so we'll go with Innkeeper Steve. Okay, so now we begin the game. And now we're going to go and see the new feature system. And I like going to the weaponsmith for some reason. And, we have got a pretty one. Okay, so we're going to go to talk. And I rewrote the whole conversation system. Nick, how do you feel about that?
Ooh, it looks prettier.
Oh, yeah, this is the hover over. So it's telling you that it costs 2 hours. And you have a conversation about a specific interest. And success is your relationship improves, your relationship decreases. So last week we talked about aspirations. One of the aspirations is to make a certain number of friends in the game. And so one of the ways that you can build your friendship is by having conversation. But you have to have shared interests. So let me explain what's going on here. So we're about to have a conversation. Ooh. And the only things that I can talk about is things that I have interests in. Now, I'll show you later where the interests are, but so it's randomly selecting from my interests and only things that I like. If I hate something, I don't get to talk about something that I hate, because why in the world would you do that? So one of these should always be Archmage. You can always talk about Archmage.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that just love talking about things they hate. Have you listen to politics?
Yeah, actually, that's true. Okay. Well, we'll think about that. Okay, so we got 3 choices here, and I don't know what her interests are because I just met her. So, and then the final option is I can let her suggest a topic, and then the last option is just to walk away. So the thinking behind this is you talk about something, and if you both share an interest in it, then you kind of hit it off, right? And the relationship kind of goes somewhere. So, for instance, retro video games. I could probably talk a lot with somebody who also had an interest in retro video games, but when I talk about retro video games with my mother-in-law, it just doesn't go anywhere, right? The relationship's not improving beyond the fact that I'm blowing hot air at her. So that's what this is kind of simulating. So I will just randomly pick something. Since we have all of Innkeeper Steve's interests, brewing, travel, and food, which one do you want me to pick here?
I don't know. She's in arms. I would say travel.
Travel? Okay.
That's my best guess.
So I talk about travel, and she responds with, I'd never thought of it that way. And relationship is 0. And we end the conversation. Negative. So that didn't go anywhere. Now, she only has so much time to talk with us, and this is something that we've had in the game for forever, but I've redone it. And so she has a little bit of time to talk with us, but those don't respawn very quickly. And so this, I'm trying to get at like the Dragon Age or Mass Effect, where you're only able to talk to someone infrequently and build that relationship over a long period of time. You can just spam them like crazy, like you can in The Sims. Right. And so that's why she has so much available time. So anyways, we'll try this again. Hey, look, we got a new option that popped up here because they're randomized. How many options you get and which ones you get are randomized. So now I can again go blind at this, but I can let her suggest a topic. So if I choose this one, then we talk about tales. Like storytelling, like tales, like that kind of stuff. Okay, so her thoughts are well structured, and I gained an interest in tales. And so there's 28 different interests in the game right now, and you start off in the starting package, you pick up 5 or 6. Yeah, you pick up 6, right? And so your ability to talk with people about different things is you have to collect them from other people. So she's interested in tales, and then she just gave it to us. And not every time someone talks to you about a particular interest, do you pick it up? So there's like some rolling that's happening there. And so I did pick it up, and our relationship grew by 3. But I also, through that, discovered that she likes talking about tales. So now when I go and I have a conversation with her, maybe tales will come up. It didn't.
Nope. Never mind. Can you game it? Just go never mind and then go into another one?
Yeah, but actually, no, you can't game it because I saw you coming, Nick. And so
spend up your hour.
Yeah, so if I say never mind, I still use up the available time, and it still moved the clock forward. And you see, actually, I can't converse because that available time is supposed to be 0 or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, it didn't update, but it's supposed to be 0. So it just updated right now. So anyway, I'm gonna use my cheat key, and there I just gave her 3 more. So now we can talk to her.
And you rolled the dice.
I don't know. I hit the N key and rolls a dice, and it gives them some available time as well. I don't know. Okay, so now we can talk about something else. Oh
man, she does not like brewing.
She does not like brewing. Okay, so you piqued my interest. I'd like to know more sometime. And just like a real person, she's lying to you. Okay, so she gave you a polite answer, but really, she did not like that. But she discovered that she had an interest in brewing, and she hates it. And so, so if we go and look at her, I'll use your little next day thingy.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not working today. Okay, we'll go next day. Okay, so we'll go back there, and we can see she hates talking about, she has no interest in brewing at all. And we did that. We had that effect on the world.
That's funny. Well, it is handy, right? Your little cheat sheet over there now.
That's right. Yeah, so that's basically removing all of the memorization that a player would have to do for every NPC in a world that's full of thousands of NPCs. So this is a little bit like the talking trait system that we had before, but as you can see, it's like done differently. So what do you think? Got any questions?
I like it. I mean, I never used conversation before. After I used it, back in the day. So it's nice that we're getting in there. Because sometimes, you're gonna want to build a relationship up, and maybe they won't want to go fishing with a stranger. So I guess it makes sense. You want to get a rapport first.
Yes. And so that's what conversation is. So basically, you got to build someone up in conversation to a certain value. I don't know exactly what that value is yet because I haven't programmed it, but build them up some value, and then that'll open up new options, right? So right now we have this invite to activity, and they just go, okay. They just start following you around, which is totally unrealistic. Someone you just met, but someone that they would go and do that.
That new panel looks pretty sweet up there, though.
Oh yeah, it does. Okay, so if we go into, I just put it under the relationships thing, so we can see these are the relationships that I started with. So these are the ones we picked up from Innkeeper Steve: brewing, adventuring, travel, food, philosophy, fashion, and tales.
Nice.
And then you always enjoy talking about magic, but for some reason it's not showing on the list right now that I can't explain. You can see I started pink coloring the bar if there's a romantic relationship as opposed to just a regular friendship relationship.
They're in love.
They are in love. They're at the highest form of love that you could possibly have. See, so they both adore each other. Isn't that nice? Cool. So that creates a separate quest for the player. They can try to ruin that marriage. So that's what I've been working on. Like I said, it was a short week because I was sick. And my voice is starting to go, so I think this brings us to the end of this week's update. And people are going to say, actually somebody already posted today on the forums. They said, hey, when's Build 11 coming out? And my answer still is, I don't know. I'm still working on fixing it and making it playable. And so I had to update this conversation system so that so basically it worked and it wasn't really stupid. I don't know how interested people are in befriending NPCs in the world. My goal is to make that a very worthwhile experience because getting to know and care about NPCs is a huge part of tabletop role-playing that I think is really missing from computer role-playing. And so I am going to try my hardest to really make these NPCs come alive. I want people to really care about these NPCs the way they care about their XCOM characters. So having them with specific interests and being able to talk about those interests and share them and building a relationship and stuff, I think is setting us on the right path for that. So
yeah, I agree.
So if people aren't terribly impressed with what I just showed today, it's optional. You don't have to befriend NPCs. But for those who are excited about having a new kind of experience in computer role-playing, then this is kind of the first version of it. I had hoped to have more done by today, but it didn't happen.
Next week.
Next week. There's always next week. Okay, so... I got one other little quick thing to show you, Nick. I was working on this last Saturday. It took me all day to get all these in. So... I got all the new icons in for the spells. I got it tells you what the heck it does. It gives you the damage. I was putting text in here at full power and blah blah blah. Who cares? Nobody cares about at full power. They just want to know what is the most damage I can do with this thing. So I was cutting it out. I put in little flavor text that go along with each one. It's correctly showing you the targeting on when you're shooting it. Here's fireball when you're shooting it out. In combat.
Dang, that's great.
It'll show you everything that's important about the spell. So this one has a special feature, right, which is the extra damage and stuff. Now, here's one that I have fixed up. That's why it took me all day, because I was actually fixing the spells at the same time. So you can float up to 60 pounds of weight, and
nice.
And so you can target yourself, but you can also target enemies. And so what I thought was cool about this was you could target an enemy, float them, and then they can't move. So it's kind of like a hold person spell. And so as you get more and more powerful in the air school, this weight that you can do goes up. So you might be able to float a wolf, but you can't float a goblin. But when you're more powerful, you can float a goblin, and so I think that's really cool.
Can you float somebody to the moon?
You always make the craziest requests. And so
I'm not trying to break up NPC marriages, Thomas.
That would be one way. He just casts super float on them and off they go. So force push, I put in the range of weight that it does. Some of them just persist for a certain period of time based on how powerful you are, like light, like creates a light, like the torch. Anyway, so I got all these spells done. They all work. I updated them to the new combat AP, right? The 6 system instead of the 2-point system. Mm-hmm. So that creates more options in combat. So, anyways, that was pretty cool.
Hey, fixed some border stuff there too. I see it looks great.
I did, yeah. Roger and I did a little bit of UI work as well.
Nice.
So that's kind of the lay of the land right now, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.